Let's say you are a beginner surfer and you rock up to the beach for a surf by yourself. What do you look for to know where the safest and the best place for you to surf is? In this tutorial, I've gone through a basic way to assess the conditions and how to find and spot the rips and the currents and also other hazards, and also finding out which kind of waves you want to surf. Now, when it comes to assessing the waves, I've just put a very basic way to do it because this is a very big, huge topic actually, which I'm going to break down in other tutorials. My name's Shannon Ainslie. Thanks so much for tuning in and enjoy this tutorial. There are several things we should always look for when we assess the conditions while going for a surf. The first one is to try spot the currents and the rips. It's very important to know where they are, so you could either use them or avoid them. The second is to figure out which kind of waves do you want to surf. Are you looking for white waves or green waves, and where are they? And then you want to find out what kind of hazards there might be in the area. Every area will have different hazards. Common hazards are people, rocks, wind, and marine life. Some areas will have some other hidden hazards, so it's always good to ask the local surfers or lifeguards of any kind of hazards which you should be aware of. As you can see, there are different words and terms used for a body of water moving back out to sea. And in some countries, they only use the word current. So to not overcomplicate things, I will just use the word and term current for all my explanations. The most important thing for you to learn in the beginning is how these currents and rips work and also how to escape them. If we have a look at this, you can see the waves are breaking at the back on a shallow sandbank and disappearing in deep water and then reforming on a new shallow sandbank. Water comes to the beach with the waves, and then that water needs to move back out through deep water channels, and that's how a current or a rip is caused. The one way to find out where the current is to see where the waves are not breaking or to see where they are reforming. That's a sign that the water is deeper there, and the water that comes with the waves will flow into that deep water channel and then back out to sea. The other way is to spot the water flowing out. Usually you can see the ripples caused by the current in certain situations, and it almost looks like a small river flowing out. Here we have a fast motion clip of some people stuck in a current. Watch how quickly they get swept from the right to the left side of the screen. This is a very common occurrence and is easily avoided. It's smart to always have some kind of reference point or landmarker when you surf. Once you do start drifting past your reference point, just reposition yourself so that you don't get taken by the current. A lot of beginner to intermediate surfers don't know how to escape a current. A lot of the time they will paddle or fight against the current, and sometimes they will also jump off their surfboard, hold onto their surfboard, and just give up. This person started getting pulled a little further out and tried to fight the current. And eventually when you get into deep water, it's quite difficult to fight it because you can't stand on the bottom of the ocean. So you end up hanging onto your board like this, not knowing what to do. And when you get pulled into the impact zone, it gets more dangerous. The best thing to do when you're stuck in the current is to stay on your surfboard. Your surfboard is your floating device. And then you want to know which way the current is going and escape at a 90-degree angle to the current. If the current pulls you straight out to sea, then the best way to paddle to escape the current would be to swim or paddle at a 90-degree angle to the current, which is parallel to the beach. But if the current is pulling you parallel with the beach, like with these two girls over here, from the right to the left of the screen, then the best way to escape is to paddle straight towards the beach. As you progress in surfing, you learn to use these currents as an escalator to get to where you want to get to. But for now, when you're learning to surf, I recommend stay away from a current and try to find some easy, clean, safe water to surf in. Let's use this image as an example to conclude what I'm saying. So the waves will break a bit further out on these shallow sandbanks. The water that comes with these waves needs to move back out to sea, which means the water will flow to the sides first into these deeper water channels or gutters. Once they're in these deep water channels, they will then flow back out to sea, and that's how a current or a rip is caused. And as you can see, everyone is swimming and playing here in this shallow water section. Now, if someone was to get stuck in a current, they would need to paddle at a 90-degree angle to the current. Most currents will flow straight out to sea and stop just behind the waves. But you can see there's a slight difference between these two currents. This current is flowing out at a 45-degree angle, which means to escape at a 90-degree angle would look like this. This current seems to be flowing straight out to sea, so to escape at a 90-degree angle in this current would look like this. The second part of the assessment is to figure out which kind of waves you want to surf. If the waves are very small, then it's okay to catch any kind of wave, whether it be a white wave or a green wave. If it's very small, a green wave, also known as an unbroken wave, will carry a lot more speed and power, which is more fun. However, if it's a certain size and it's a little bit big, then I'd say and suggest it's a lot easier, quicker and safer to learn to surf in the white water waves. There is absolutely nothing wrong with learning to surf on white water waves. In fact, in my opinion, it's a lot better for a beginner surfer, and the reason why is because, first of all, it's much safer. Second of all, it's a lot less tiring because you can walk back out after a wave. And most importantly, you're going to catch a lot more waves. Catching a lot more waves will help you progress quicker and easier, which means when the time is right, you will be ready to surf green and unbroken waves. There are 4 goals you should accomplish before you start surfing green waves or unbroken waves out the back. The first goal is you should at least be able to catch a wave yourself. The second goal is you should be able to stand up and ride the wave with control, having good balance. The third goal is you should be able to speed up and generate extra speed on the wave when it starts fading or dying away. And the last goal, which is one of the most important ones, is you should be able to traverse or turn either to the back side or to the front side, left or right. If you're able to achieve those 4 goals, then you're ready to surf the green waves or unbroken waves out the back. As long as you start practicing all the surf rules and surf etiquette so that both you and everyone else around you has a good, fun, and safe surf. So to summarize how to choose the right waves for you, choose a wave that best suits your ability. Don't put yourself out there in a difficult, scary, dangerous situation where you or other people could be injured or hurt. And then if you're on a beginner level and you've passed surfing white water and you've achieved all your goals, then be sure to choose the right size green wave for yourself to surf. Choose a wave that breaks slowly from one direction to another direction so that you are able to stay on the green, unbroken part of the wave. If you are going to surf small, green, or unbroken waves, then your position in the water is very important. You want to be positioned out the way of other people and make sure that you join in on the rotational system when it comes to surf etiquette. The next assessment is to see what kind of hazards we have. I've broken this down into a few categories, such as people, rocks, wind, and also marine life. Let's jump straight into people. People can be a big, major hazard in the water, especially with all these big surfboards and stand-up paddleboards that they carry and use in the water. If we look closely at this video, you'll see that that person loses his board and it goes flying to the sky. That's a situation where the board could fly right back and hit you on the head. This person rode right over someone, and underneath the boards you have three sharp fins. That person loses his big board and almost hit the person on the head behind him. So having said that, it's probably smart to position yourself in the water a bit further away from other people, to keep some distance from one another so that you don't lose your board and someone else doesn't lose their board. These kind of things will prevent injury and also prevent fear and frustration. You never want to be behind someone or in front of someone in the water, so always find a place with extra space. As you progress in surfing, surfing over rocks and reef becomes a bit more normal and comfortable. But if you're not comfortable with it, to enter or exit the water around rocks or to surf over the rocks when there are rocks underneath the water which you cannot see can become dangerous. So make sure that you assess those kind of conditions so that you prevent injury and also damaged boards. Surfers rely on wind to create and to shape waves, but some days it gets too windy. If it's too windy for your level and your experience, then I suggest not to surf. When the wind blows between 50 to 70 kilometers an hour, if it grabs your board and blows it into your head, it can easily knock you out or break a nose or give you a concussion. Every country or area that you surf in will have a different kind of marine life. So find out what is common to see there. Sometimes you'll spot dolphins or whales or killer whales, which could be more friendly and social. Other times you might bump into some blue bottles or jellyfish, things that can sting you and hurt you. Some people are allergic to them, other people are not. And then some areas might have more sharks. Some of them are dangerous, some are not. So you want to assess those areas you surf in so that you are up to date with what they have. I hope you enjoyed this overview of how to do a surf assessment. Surfing is quite a challenging sport, but extremely fun, and I'm sure you know that. So make sure that you look at all my other tutorials. Some of them will be overviews like this. Others will be in-depth studies and tutorials on certain topics for you to learn and progress quicker. So make sure that you get out there, practice these things, and I want to see you in the water. Have a great day.